Jim Norton is not a doctor. He's not an expert. He's not even a good person. The views, opinions, advice, and humor of Jim Norton does not reflect those of any doctor, of SiriusXM, of Opie Radio, or anyone else. They are solely those of Jim Norton, Lyle Chipperson, Edgar Mellencamp, Paul Hargis, and whoever else lives in that chinless head of his. If any of this advice goes wrong, you are the asshole who called a comedian instead of a doctor.
An icon in comedy, a fighter for freedoms, an accomplished entertainer, and a pervert. You've got problems, he's got problems. You've got questions, he's got answers, some of which are good. Call now, 866-WOW-1-WOW. That's 866-969-1969. This is the Jim Norton Show.
Super Radio.
I'm going to begin singing along with the theme song. It really enhances it and shows my vivacious personality. Thank you, everyone who's tuning in. Before we start, the phones are already lighting up here. But I wanted to quickly address something, because I talk about the chip animation. For some reason, we don't talk about it much on the show in the morning. I did talk about it that one day. But I saw something, somebody sent me a tweet of something on Facebook where somebody was questioning the funding and the fact that I was asking for $200,000, and they were asking the company, do you guys charge him that much for this? They absolutely did not. That's below what I would have to pay. The reason I'm asking for that much, it was, first of all, was I wanted to ask for less, but the guy who's running the campaign said ask for that much, because in his world, that's not a lot, is because anything, first of all, there's a hunk of it, I guess, that gets paid to the manager of the campaign, a percentage that goes to credit cards, and a percentage that goes to Indiegogo. And the animation is a certain price per minute. I think what I paid for is like $2,500 a minute. But obviously, I want to upgrade the animation. So if I'm upgrading the animation and I'm doing slightly longer episodes, I have like more scripts. Most of them are about 6 to 6.5 pages, and normally it's a page a minute. So again, I don't want to make them too long, 5 to 6 minutes, but 6 minutes is probably the maximum. But there may be extra costs incurred, and there may be extra costs as far as inventing new characters or redesigning characters or whatever. That shit costs money. But any extra money that was left over, it's not going in my pocket. I'm not keeping it and going, well, I made the 5, fuck them. It would simply be used, A, to get a much higher level of animation, or B, to make extra episodes. So there's going to be a full accounting of every dollar spent. So comment however you feel comfortable on the animation. You hate it, you love it, whatever. All your feelings are valid. But don't think there's anything shady going on. The animation guys, my buddy, who's a guy I've known for 20 years, they're completely straight people, man. They're good people. And the guy who's running the chip campaign, his intentions are good. There's nobody has shitty intentions. No one's trying to sneak an extra few bucks into our pocket. It's just, I can tell you honestly, that's just not the case. And it's not something I would ever do. It's just not how I think about money when it comes to stuff like this. Mike in Chicago, what's up, buddy?
Hey, okay, can't complain. Well, could complain because I'm calling in, but
sure.
Yeah, one of those things. Hey, so I'm calling basically because 5 years ago I was diagnosed with genital warts. Haven't even had much of a breakout since initially getting it diagnosed, but I just have been unable to. I haven't had sex in like 6 years. I'm unable to. I feel like I'm unable to. It's just completely destroyed any confidence, I guess you'd say, of ever talking to women or anything like that. And like I've gone and looked at websites or whatever that was supposed to be like STD dating, but all of those are like basically to use them, you'd have to, if not have herpes, be willing to contract herpes, and I just really don't want to add things into the STD list I have, and that just, I'm really just fresh out of ideas by this point. And
well, let me ask you a question. And again, this is a Dr. Steve question. This is why I need a guy like Dr. Steve. The genital wart, he would just know. He'd know the technical name of them.
Yeah.
And One of the things is, if I don't know, can you still give them to somebody if you've had? I know a lot of people. I've actually never had genital warts, but I know a shitload of people who have, and they all just get them burned off and keep fucking.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, the way the doctor will tell it to you is that, like, something along the lines of, well, as far as medical science knows, you can't spread them after they've been taken off, but medical science doesn't know that you don't continue spreading them either. It's like the same thing with herpes in a way, where you don't have to be actively in an outbreak in order to transmit it to people.
No, but you do have to be shedding or something. There has to be something happening with it for you to transmit it. You have to be shedding or outbreaking or something like that. So I imagine with warts, it's the same thing. If a doctor is telling you, we don't know cases of people spreading it, and I've never heard of it being spread by somebody who had it and had them removed. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of someone saying, hey, I had them and got them from somebody who had claimed to have had them removed. So you could do one of two things. Join that website and just avoid people that have herpes or chlamydia or whatever it is you're afraid of catching, and be honest. Or just be honest about people. People will appreciate your honesty, dude. If you're meeting women and you're going, look, 5 years ago I had warts and I had them burned off. I know the word warts is ugly and we don't like it, but let me ask you something. Have they come back since?
Simple answer, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, obviously not noticeably, but I mean...
If you don't see them, then they haven't come back.
Yeah. Well,
be honest. That's it. Just be honest. Tell women immediately, look, I'm a little paranoid. I had these 5 years ago. My doctor told me this. Tell them the truth. This is what my doctor said, but I've been a little bit paranoid. That's all you can do, Mike. You can't never fuck again, especially if you had them burned off, okay?
Yeah, and you really don't think that would just kind of sink the entire deal? I mean, I know if
Tell her early. Tell her early. Don't fall in love. Maybe not the first date, but once it's going to happen, tell her in a non-sexual situation when you're sitting there so she doesn't have pressure or get grossed out in a moment. But you haven't fucked in 6 years. So how much worse is it going to make it? What, is she going to shoot you in the head?
Yeah, I guess that is a good point, yeah.
Get on with it. Get that fucking dick back into action. You've had them burned off. You've been responsible. You're an honest guy. Just fucking go back to banging and tell them the truth, okay?
Okay, all right. Thanks, man.
Talk to another doctor if you have to. Talk to another doctor, and this way you can be honest and tell her you spoke to another doctor, okay?
Okay.
All right, pal. Take care. Sargon in Massachusetts. I unblocked you on Twitter. Hey, what's up, man?
It's Jimmy. How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. What did you say to me on Twitter?
All right. Well, the backstory is it was the Super Bowl. It's the Patriots versus the Giants. I'm in a shitty mood. I'm drinking, and I'm acting like a complete ass on Twitter, being the Twitter troll that I was. And you had written something, I don't know what, and I don't even know why. I just kept writing shitty things. So you wrote back and you were like, basically, fuck yourself. And I do not blame you whatsoever. So now fast forward like 4 years later, a couple weeks ago, in Boston. I see you in Boston. I had a bunch of drink. I see you. I'm like, Jimmy, I'm sorry, man. You blocked me on Twitter, and you probably looked at me like I had 10 heads. You're like, dude, it's okay. Just email me and let me know. So I gave you a shout out on the email, but I figured.
Oh, I probably didn't get it. Tell me your. See, the thing with Twitter blocking is, a lot of times I do block people if they're saying, like, because I know we're harsh in the way we communicate with each other, like as fans and as me, the comedian. Hey, fucking, because we talk to each other like that, roughly, me and Bobby, and when Patrice was around and Keith. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes, because I don't know the person who's addressing me, there have been times where I've made the mistake where somebody really is just being like giving me a little jab, and I block them and take it seriously. So again, I don't want to be Mr. Hypersensitive.
I don't blame you. You were 100% in the right.
What's your Twitter name? What's your Twitter name?
It's at Sargon Hannah, all one word.
Spell that for me, pal.
SargonHanna.
Okay, let's see. That's you looking over your shoulder? Okay, I unblocked you.
Yeah. Oh, you're the man, Jimmy. You're the man. That's all I asked for. I promise no more trolling from me.
No problem. Thanks for coming to the show, okay?
All right, keep it up. Thanks.
All right, take care. All right. See how nice it is when everybody's nice? It's nice to be nice to the nice. Frank Burns from MASH. All right, let's see here. Hold on. I lost my advice show thing. Let's see here. Comment on the Chip animation. Charlie in New York. Ooh, I got a great joke. What's up, Chuck? Let me pause to allow the laughter to ensue. Hey, buddy.
Oh, my God. Jimmy. Holy shit. I can't believe this. I'm such a big fan.
Oh, thank you, Chuck.
I need to calm myself down a little bit.
Oh, don't be such a goose.
So, listen, here's my little 2 cents. I love the animation.
Oh, thank you.
The animation quality's fine. People are retarded. But anyway, I thought Chip was always like, when I imagined him in my head, I thought he was like happily, unknowingly bombing, and then in the animation he came off a little bit angry. I was wondering, am I picturing him wrong? Or
You know, it's hard to say, dude, because Chip at times is very silly, and at times he is very angry. Like I know Bob Kelly loves angry Chip. Like when I would always argue with Sam, people always enjoyed Chip and Sam. Fucking piece of garbage. You know, Chip tweets kind of angry and aggressive. But there are times when you're right, he doesn't know he's bombing. I think at the end he got mad.
That's what always made me love Chip, is I always pictured him like telling his joke and then having a big stupid smile on his face, so everyone else is like, holy shit, this guy's an idiot.
That's a good question, to be honest. You know, it's hard in a 5-minute animation. I got a tweet from a guy.
Yeah, I understand.
No, a guy tweeted me recently, or yesterday, and he was saying that he didn't like the Chip animation. And then he sends me a clip of 2 guys of Matt and Trey from South Park. He goes, learn from these guys. So I clicked on it, and they're such smart dudes. But they were talking about storyline setups, and it made sense what they said. Although I don't think I veered as far away from the story formula of never say, and then this happened, and then this happened, but always make it therefore this. You know, it wasn't intentional, but I think that the funeral home one had a bit of a flow to it. But it's like, dude, it's my second. It's a very brand new effort. You know,
right.
I'm not going to be fucking South Park, and I didn't claim.
Well, South Park looked like dog shit for the first couple seasons, anyway.
It got a lot of criticism, but those guys were always smart and topical and really on point. But again, you know, those type of criticism, it's like, could you give me a little time to fucking grow with it? And someone's like, dude, it was just a dumb fart joke. It's like, yeah, but when has Chip done smart material? Like, this is a Chip Chipperson cartoon. Now, is there a way for Chip to deal with social issues and maybe a different? Sure. Is there a way for me to bring someone in from the out? What I thought of is this. I was talking to Kenny about this. I'm going to let you go after this. One thing I want to do is, like, I know Chip Chipperson. The animating company who did it, again, the guy's a buddy of mine. They didn't know Chip at all. So the first pass at this was way off, but it was no fault of theirs. They just didn't understand the timing of Chip. There was no way for them to get the face of Chip until I kind of stepped in and said, no, this and this. So what it would have helped, a guy like...
Hopefully people stay on board long enough for you to work into that groove. I think it could be really good.
I think so too, and I have enough to get some more made. I don't know how many more, but I will do more work with this because I've already gotten $55,000, so that money's not going to waste. Hindsight's 20/20, but in the future I would have a guy like a Coke Logic or somebody who does understand Chip as a fan. And from the outside, who's distant from Jim Norton, who knows the appeal of Chip Chipperson, what they laugh at with Chip, and also understands animation and what jokes might be amiss. But I'm willing to do that. So people who are getting really angry about it, it's like, fucking relax. I mean, I think I'm pretty open to suggestion. If you're being twats just to be twats, all right, I get that. I can't fix that. All right, thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it. Okay?
Yeah, take care, Jimmy.
Let's see. Bryce in Dallas. Bryce, a regular caller. What's up, Bryce?
Hey, man, I'm going to kind of switch gears away from Chip, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, I was just curious what you thought of Adam Sandler. I grew up in the 90s, so Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore are like 2 of my favorite comedies, but I kind of think he sucks now. I was wondering if you respected him or if you thought he was funny.
You know, it's funny. People hate when I say this. I've never seen those films. But I acknowledge that Adam is funny because the Hanukkah song is funny. I mean, it's easy to trash it, but you know what? It's a pretty clever idea, just naming Jews and rhyming them. People you didn't know were Jewish. I love the fact that Adam uses all his friends in movies like Spade, and he's Colin Quinn and Chris. So I respect him for that a lot. As far as his work now compared to earlier, I have no idea what the difference is because I just don't watch his movies. But, you know, he's got a good enough of a track record where it would be hard for me to say Adam Sandler's not funny. You know what I mean? His track record is pretty fucking successful. So he's doing something right.
What was the last Sandler movie you saw, would you say?
I don't know if I've ever seen one in full, to be honest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've seen bits and pieces of like Little Nicky, if that was what it was called.
Yeah.
And moments here and there of Waterboy, but I've never sat and watched an actual Adam Sandler movie. I probably should, so I know what I'm talking about, but I just don't.
So as a comedian, you do respect him, though?
Yeah, I mean, I respect I respect what I know of him. The fact that he's used these guys in his act, I do respect. And I'm sorry, in his films, and he stayed very loyal, and he seems like a really good dude. So I like the peripheral things that I know about him, I like.
All right, man. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Kurt in Chicago has a comment about our show this morning. Hello, Kurt.
Hey, morning. Hey, how you doing, Jimmy? I was going to say morning, but afternoon.
I thought it was Kirk. It's funny. I thought you were going to be talking about me. Go ahead.
I can't hold a candle to Kirk. That's unfortunate.
Well, he is a joy. What's up, buddy?
First thing I wanted to say is I saw you when I was in Chicago. I'm a truck driver, so last time I was in Chicago, I had the night you were here. I got a ticket. It was amazing.
Oh, thank
So
you.
the show was phenomenal.
Thank you.
I'm actually taking my fiance because she was jealous, so I'm taking her to Indy. So we will.
Oh, good, man. Thank you.
Hopefully we can fill that place up for you.
I hope so.
What I wanted to talk though, so Theo was on second time to this morning, and he come across in studio as oblivious to everything that's kind of going on as he does when it comes across on the radio?
No, not oblivious. He's there and he's listening, but he'll throw out a line once in a while. I think Theo's mind, and again, I know very little about him, but he seems like a really funny dude. His mind just kind of works in an odd way. Opie said that before I came in. He's like, man, he's got like a very interesting mind, before he even got there to me.
Yeah, he definitely comes across, because he'll hit some funny one-liners and stuff, but I don't know, it just comes across very much kind of like the wooden shirt story. Kind of just like he's really trying to get you guys to laugh, and I think maybe that's just because he's not on radio as much and he's not as comfortable.
I didn't take it like that. Sitting next to him, it felt like genuine weird shit. And I had heard that he was an original thinker and has an original mind. But if that was a joke, it was very funny. I mean, I didn't catch that it was a joke.
Oh, definitely got a laugh. Yeah, definitely. Because the last time when he talked about finding the nudie mags and the nipples cut out. So, and then that all went into eel porn. So.
Oh, you know what? I wasn't here for that. So okay.
One thing I did want to say, I don't know who you got to blow, but you need to get yourself a second hour or maybe a second day, because 1 hour of your advice show is just not enough, man. Your entertainment alone is just keeps me driving, brother. I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
I enjoy doing it. Thanks, pal. See that. I do want to do my own thing. And it's not a reflection on Ope or on Ant, not wanting to work with those guys at all. But it's like at my age, you start to I like dictating and guiding my own thoughts, and I'm sure Ope feels the same way, and I'm sure that Ant feels the same way. It's like especially all these podcasts. It's like I like being by myself, man. And it's not that I like someone else not being there. It really isn't that. It's not an aggressive thing. I have zero animosity in the moment that I'm saying that. I just like the idea, of doing my own thing sometimes. Because as a stand-up, you're a solo person. And after a while, dude, my friends, I've had some great friends, I just shot something for Amy today. And, people who don't like her, but the bottom line is she's a person like Adam. She uses her friends and stuff. She's loyal to her friends. Louis C.K. is the same way. Louis uses his friends and stuff. And it's I love having friends that do that, and I appreciate that very much. And it makes you feel good like that. Like they like me enough to use me in their art or whatever. But it's hey, man, I want my own stuff, too. As a performer, I like standing on my own 2 feet. I'm never doing stand-up wanting somebody else up there with me. So Bob in Jersey, another Opie question. What direction? I'm not sure what you mean, Bob. How you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm okay, buddy.
All right. You'll be in Count Basie tomorrow night. I can't make it, man. Sucks.
How many Basies are there? I only got one.
Oh, my God. Every fucking time.
Fucking Count Basie. Home run.
No, it wasn't.
Yes,
not
it
even
was,
close.
you piece of garbage.
So listen, over the winter break when you guys were away, I'm not a real big rerun best of guy. So the first time since Anthony left, I went back and started listening to the old shows, the YouTube Channel shows, with Patrice and Bill Burr and all that. And like, since I did that, I almost can't even bring myself to come back and listen to you guys in the morning. Like, it's not even a knock against you or Opie or anybody else, but like, do you ever do that? Do you ever go back and listen to how unbelievably good the radio show used to be? Like, I don't know.
Absolutely. Like, people will send me links once in a while, and I'll listen to things, or I'll listen to old bits. Again, you have to realize I was there when so many of those moments happened, so it's different when you're listening to yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, I grieve the loss of the show you're talking about. Like, I understand what you're saying, dude. I grieve that as well. And there's a part of me that's very sad that does not exist in that form. And there's also a part of me knowing that as a performer for a fucking decade, I got to be in a room and some of the funniest shit on the radio was happening. And I know I was a part of it. It's a different perspective when you're there. So none of us thought Opie tells us stories sometimes about when the show first came back and that girl was passed out and stuff like that and the cops showed up. We almost fucked up immediately. We almost fucked up with Homeless Charlie. XM was going to fire us. Like, we almost blew it so many fucking times. The fact that we got a decade on satellite radio to me is amazing. So I know what you're saying, but I am also grateful that I had that much time, much longer than I thought it would have been. And like, I still enjoy performing now, but I get that you like that show better than this version. I mean, and I don't know what to tell you. If you can't come back and listen in the morning, I appreciate you giving it a shot at all.
I mean, I'm always be a fan. I mean, I'll always listen to you, but I almost should have never done it. I should have never even brought myself back to that time, because it really is sad that it's never going to happen. I mean, all this stuff that's transpired, over the past year and a half or so, you just knowing that collective group of people is never going to be together in the same room again doing radio. It's sad,
Yeah, and I know a lot of the people that hate us now, some of them people who probably hated us before it ended. Some are probably people who just completely turned on us because this thing that they loved is gone, and they just want to attack everybody involved with it. But it's like, the bottom line is, it lasted a lot longer than any of us thought it would. And for those of you that are like, you got to understand, like, those guys had tension in the room so many more times than you, the audience, knew. Like, you understand, that show didn't blow up 3 years into it because of a fight they had that you guys never knew about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was a long period of time where there was tension in the room, and it still worked.
Going back and listening to those same, episodes or whatever, shows again, I can hear it. Like, I notice it a little more now than I did, because when you're listening to it live, I was just wrapped up in it. I was just listening and enjoying it. But this time, you can hear it. I could hear it on some days, like the tension. Sometimes it would be Opie or Anthony or everybody together, and Patrice would be there and just blow it all up, But it was, I don't know. It is sad, man. I don't have too many other people I could bring this up to. Only a couple of my other friends have listened to them as long as I have. But
yeah, it's definitely a grieving process, and I understand that. I mean, and I feel it too, man. I really do feel it. I don't speak so highly of Anthony to be polite. He's one of my closest friends, and I find it very, very difficult to not have him in the room. And like today, I had a good time with Doug and with Theo. And we had Kristen Shaw come on. I had a good time with them. I enjoyed today's show. I like being funny and I like being me. But of course I miss bouncing stuff off Anthony too. How can you not? There's not a person who enjoys improvising in the world who had 10 years with fucking Anthony Cumia that wouldn't say, I miss Anthony. No one would say I don't miss bouncing shit off Anthony Cumia.
He's just so fucking funny, man. It's
ridiculous. Of course he is. And I feel, but again, as much as I grieve at being gone, and I really mean this, a part of me feels so fucking blessed and so lucky to have had that guy, that situation, that combination of those two to fucking function with for a decade, because it did work.
I'm grateful I can go back and listen to it whenever I want. And regardless of what anybody said, I was upset when it happened too, but the way Opie and you carried it was, you couldn't have done it any better than you did it,
Yeah, some
at
people
least that's how I feel, man.
Thank you. Some people had expectations on what we should have done and blah, blah, blah. And, look, Open Air have said some shit about each other since then, and they've fought. But, bands get back together after 20 years. So I'm not saying they're going to get back together. I don't see it ever happening. But a lot worse breakups have happened than Opie and Anthony. So, all right?
Okay. All right, take care. Good luck tomorrow night at Red Bank, all right?
Oh, yeah, man. I'm looking forward to this one. Thanks, pal. Ryan in Florida, what's up?
Jimmy, big fan.
Thank you, man.
I got a situation, and I don't know if you can put some light into this.
I don't know.
Recently, my stepdaughter moved back in with us. She got separated from her husband, long story there.
Okay.
And my friend, which I've known since I was 14, he's 50. We just found out that he's been having a father-daughter role-play relationship with my 24-year-old stepdaughter.
Okay, I have different emotions about this. Obviously, there's the Jim Norton, the guy that wants to fucking scrap one on the floor right now, and then there's the person on the radio with you who doesn't understand that would be awful if I was in your position. How old is your daughter? Oh, she's 24, he's 50. How did you find out about it?
Well, he's got a long-term girlfriend, and we hang together just about every weekend. And my stepdaughter's phone from her ex-husband, he turned it off. So her not having credit, blah, 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 we had to get her a phone. Where her mother happened to see her phone with a bunch of text messages and just had an initial for the guy and the number. And I happened to glance at the number. I said, well, that's my best friend's number. So she went through her text messages, and there was pretty much where they had met, pictures of her getting facial, dildos, his pecker, her completely naked, him telling her to call him daddy. And so my wife don't know what to do, and we have a big circle of friends that we all hang with. And she's kind of confronted her daughter, but she didn't tell her that she knew who it was. And now she don't want to have anything to do with my friend. And I'm in a situation where I know he's always had a problem with being a sex addict, which, let
me ask you, 'cause there's a couple things happening here. I'd be a liar if I said I didn't know why that bothered you or your wife. Of course, when you're friends, even though she's an adult, the guy's not a pedophile. It's still disturbing because you feel deceived and like, this is my family and blah, blah, blah. But to a certain degree, she's an adult and neither of you had any right to look at her text messages. Even though I get why you did and I get the curiosity, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't. But you understand that as a 24-year-old woman, you have zero right to look at what's on her phone.
Exactly.
And so now you found out something you didn't like and you didn't know. And I get it. How do you feel towards your friend about it, for real?
Well, I've known him for a long time, and I know how he is. I know he always preyed on vulnerable women. The girlfriend he's got now, that same thing happened with her. But, when it hits home, and I know it was wrong to see, my wife showed me all the stuff, and I was, not being appalled because I know how he is.
Sure.
But to put you in a situation where we're around these people, his girlfriend's friends with us, we know them, we go places with them, we go on vacation together, and I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to figure out, she wants me to confront him, and I don't know if it's right to confront him or just let it go and just, every time we see him, it's going to be awkward, but just not say anything at all.
Well, does your daughter knows that you guys know, so she may tell him. Is your daughter going to still see him, the daughter-in-law?
My wife did not tell her that we knew who exactly it was. She just told her that we know that she's having an affair with someone.
Wait, is she married?
She's not divorced yet.
But she's getting divorced?
Yes.
Okay. Did they meet while they were already separated, her and the husband?
Yes, her husband lives in a different state.
All right. Well, look, they're two adults who made adult decisions, and you guys don't have to like it. I don't know if it's bad to tell your friend that you know, because once you know, he might wonder why you're acting weird. Like, why not just say, like, look, this is what happened, and tell him. Like, he's an adult, he can do what he wants, and so is your daughter. But why all this secrecy? Why is everybody lining up in their little camps and being secretive? Because she did say, if she didn't say anything to the daughter, I would say don't say anything. But it's like she talks to the daughter, so she let the daughter know, we know something that you're doing. And now the daughter's got to wonder, does she know it's him? And, like, why all these secret camps?
Yeah. And, the daughter, of course, denies it. But, there's no denying when you see the pictures, you know who the phone
No, of course not. But you guys, in a way, violated her privacy terribly.
Yep.
And even though, again, you found out something, it technically wasn't your information to have at all. So or maybe you should just let it go. But you're going to have to see the friend, and will it be hard for you to be... You might want to... Here's why you might want to talk to your friend. Because you don't need him to be seeing her and thinking you don't know, and then come over and go, oh, my God, dude, I just got blown. Like, then you're going to have an ugly picture, and you might have an ugly blow-up. So if you're going to remain friends, it might behoove him to not start talking about dumping loads on this chick he's dating in front of you, not knowing that you know.
Right.
So, personally, I would tell him, but you don't have to confront him. You could just tell him. Why confront?
Yep. I mean, we've been friends a long time. That was, I guess, the biggest question.
Yeah, I think you could tell him and talk to him, okay?
I think you should. The light that I was looking for.
Yeah, I don't think you need to confront him. I don't think it has to be angry, because you're a man. You understand. Even though, it's creepy, it's your friend's stepdaughter, but it's not your daughter, and she's not young. She's an adult, and they hooked up, and they's like, call me daddy. He's 50 years old. How many 50-year-olds get to bang 24-year-olds? It's one of those, come on, the father and the stepdaughter is usually the fantasy. The friend of the dad, there's not many dads that wouldn't do that if they could, I mean, many guys that wouldn't bang a friend's adult stepdaughter.
You're pretty much exactly right there, because it come across my mind a few times. But
yeah, there you go. So you understand it, even though it might not have been the nicest thing. You could talk to him about it.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, thank you, Jimmy.
See you later, man. Thank you for the call. Mike in Jersey has a Patrice question. What's up, Mike?
For taking my call, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
First off, I'm a huge fan, and I was a huge fan of Patrice. And I love Uncle Paul. I love Chips. I even got my fiance to start laughing at Chip, which is that's one of the most amazing things ever. I would wonder, what would Patrice think of these very unique characters? Because they are really one of a kind. So, and he was such a one of a kind personality that I was wondering how he would think. What would he think of those guys?
He always kind of, I think, was annoyed by Chip. Like, one of the great joys I had in life was when stupid Patrice would be on Twitter trying to talk NCAA tournament or whatever, and I would fucking jump in there and go like, sis, what are you basketball? What are you throwing a fucking basket on your ball? Or whatever it was. And then all these people would start chipping him. So he's trying to read responses and have these like little ongoing college basketball chats, and then all these morons are fucking chipping at him. That always made me happy. But he never seemed to enjoy Uncle Paul so I don't like how many characters am I doing that he didn't know? There's Kirk Cinnamon, which is really new. And I only named it because I don't want people clicking on it who aren't familiar with the radio show going, what is Jim doing? So I want them to see it's Kirk Cinnamon. He may like them. He may hate them. I think Ted Scheckler he kind of liked. I did Ted Scheckler in front of him. So I don't know, to be honest with you. But some he may tolerate. Others he would be completely unfond of.
All right, yeah, I was just curious. Like I said, I saw him so many times. I've seen you live so many times. So, those two personalities just clicking together. I always wondered, how you.
If Kirk Cinnamon piped up, he may go, and just disgust and then ignore it. I think Patrice would dismiss Kirk.
I can actually picture that disgusted look on his face.
Yeah, me too. Like, what are you doing, Jim? Yeah, I can picture him being disgusted with me too.
All right, thanks a lot, Jim. I appreciate it.
Okay, Mike. So Brian in Jersey, did we talk to Brian in Jersey already about Chip comments?
Oh, no, you haven't. I think there was another guy.
Oh, another one. Okay, hi, Brian.
How you doing?
I'm good.
What I want, listen, my family and I are really into the arts. My kids are in music school. My daughter's 14. She's really into puns. So, of course, bringing them up to really respect comedy, from Bugs Bunny to Python to you guys, Louie, we introduced her to Chip. Because she just thinks puns are freaking hilarious, and she's a very mature 14-year-old. So then it turns into we start riffing and trying to act like you and act it out, and every time there's a pun, she wants me to do it like Chip. But then she said something really interesting. She's pretty intuitive, and I was curious about the character and how you created it. She said that it's genius that you invented something that's a character that can get away with a bad joke that actually makes it funny. And on top of that, sometimes there's gold. Do you ever purposely go to Chip because in your mind you're like, this might not be funny, so if I use Chip, funny, or did it's not funny, or did it just morph into that?
No, it's funny. To me, it was like, because my mind has always been geared towards being funny. Like, that's the most identified as my person. All my self-esteem since childhood has been based in the fact that I'm funny. So doing unfunny lines is kind of fun because they're so awful. Like, I know that they're uncomfortable. I know they're stopping the flow. My ex would tell me once in a while, and sometimes the challenge is to go so far with an unfunny line that people are surprised you pulled that one out of thin air. So it's almost like I'm going for the best unfunny line. Like, when you're trying to be funny, you're going for the best comedic line. In a way, Chip is the polar opposite. Like, I'm always trying to be entertaining in some way or the other, whether it's just by stopping the flow of the show and the awkwardness of that, and I enjoy it, or by, like, Jennifer would tell me sometimes, like, ugh, Chip is so awful, it even surprises me sometimes. And I always took that as a great compliment. But it's just another way for your mind to work, dude. And it's fucking fun. I don't do puns in my act. Puns stink. I never do puns on stage. But the idea of just doing them, and then I like wordplay, Yoma. It's just a fun way to let your mind go. And it's a way that my mind wouldn't normally go when I'm doing stand-up.
Well, and it's amazing that you did that, because she knows that puns are the joke of comedy. Like, going to a pun is horrible, and she knows that at 14. So it was a natural thing to introduce her to Chip. And we just appreciate that, because for us, listen, I like you because I have this dark side that I can tap into when I listen to a guy like you. I'm a family guy, but we brought up our kids to talk like truckers at home. They know how to behave when they're out. But at the same time, it takes someone who understands how to create a character, and she sees the character in it, and I appreciate that. You always joke about your acting, and you wish you were better, you wish you were this, you wish you were that, and you were just talking about other people showing you the animation, and it's not what they thought it was. And we just appreciate it, because what we do at the table is we laugh. I had some dysfunction growing up, and I made it a point to make sure that we were going to laugh at the kitchen table as much as we could. And, maybe it's just to tell you you're making some people out there happy, and maybe you don't realize how far it goes.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that, Brian. Thank you.
You got it, man. You got
it. Buddy. Take care. Let's see here. Jeff in Virginia. What's up, pal?
How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm good, buddy.
It's a pleasure to talk with you, and hopefully you'll come to Richmond at some point.
I'll get down to Virginia, sure.
So here's my situation. I'm dating a married woman. Well, I guess I'm just seeing her. I'm not really dating her. I see her when I can, and that's it. And, I was just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Man, it's one of those things. How long have you been seeing her?
Probably about 4 months now. And the backstory on this whole thing is that she does very well for herself. And, her husband basically sits on the Xbox and basically pays her no attention. And she's a Southern girl, so she does the cooking, she does the cleaning, she does all that, because that's how the Southern girls do it. But she doesn't get that. You're beautiful. You're amazing. She is absolutely one of the most amazing people that I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Part of me.
No, I understand. I understand the attraction to it. The married woman, it's taboo. It's kind of on no strings attached. But, it's one of those things where you just got to realize that everyone you're going to get caught sooner or later, or she's going to get caught. Women always think their husbands are stupid. They're not. Like, I've talked dirty to a lot more married women than I've ever hooked up with. Normally, I bail out of it and I don't meet with them because, it's a different thing once you hook up. Be very careful with that, dude, because you're fucking with somebody's marriage like that. Unless they're a swinging cuckold couple. Like, that's another thing, too. Like, there's a lot of couples that are really into cuckolding, and all of a sudden he knows she's going out, and it's a role play. I've talked to couples where it's a role play thing. Like, and she's saying things, and I know that he's with her. And I understand that, and I know the tone of what's happening. I get it, because I've been on the other end of it. I've had girls that I've been with who are telling me how they're going to fuck somebody else. They've been fucking, it drives me crazy in a good way. But if that's not the situation, be very careful, okay?
So here's the other side of that. I've been cheated on. I hated it.
Sure.
I don't like being second. I'm a very, I would call a dominant sort of guy. But for some reason, I just can knock this one out of my brain and not think about it.
Yeah. Well, maybe, because you get laid. I understand. It's fun.
Yeah, it's not about getting laid, though. It's even just sitting out
really
on
like her.
and chilling.
I would say move on from it, even though I know it's really, really hard, okay? That's my advice. I'm not saying you're going to do it, but...
I appreciate your
dangerous.
advice. I appreciate you.
Be good, buddy. Thanks so much.
Yeah, buddy.
Eric in Ohio. What's up? New comedian. Hello.
Hey, Jimmy. Hi. Can that guy talk any slower? Jesus Christ.
Well, he's a gentleman. He's from Virginia. They're not a hurried people down there.
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm a new comic. I've been very new. I've only been doing it since January.
Okay.
And I've been writing before that. And actually, I had an instance where I listen to you guys and Ron Show all the time. And Ron just casually says something that is in my writing. I didn't even perform it yet because I was so new at the time. This was about a month ago. And I thought that was fucking crazy. But I didn't know how to make it quite funny yet because I knew it was like towing a line. So I kind of brushed it off. But less than a week later, same show, Ron once again says something that's I've actually said on stage and in my act. And I'm somewhat discouraged by it, but at the same time, I don't know how to feel about it.
Well, don't be discouraged. Just realize that your mind is comedic because you're thinking the same way as a really brilliant guy.
Yeah, that's what I didn't know how to take it. If it was like, well, I'm on the right path since he's a funny guy.
Yeah. You know no one's stealing. As long as you know you're not taking from him, he's certainly not taking from you. So, I would say just enjoy the fact that your mind is working in a great direction because Ron is so funny.
I like that you said he's certainly not taking from me because I'm a fucking nothing.
No, but I'm saying the point is, the point is that he wouldn't have any access to what you're saying. Like Ron wouldn't have access to your material because you're just going on stage in your town.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I just didn't know how much this happens or how often it happens. And it actually, even puts, the Amy Schumer thing in perspective. Well, I've been doing it for less than 2 months, and I've had it happen twice already.
Yeah, it does happen, man. It absolutely does happen. All right?
Yeah. All right. Thank you, man.
All right, good luck with the gigs. Eddie in Hartford, you want to comment about a joke I made? Just don't give away the punchline if you can help it, okay, Eddie? What's up, buddy?
Hey, Jim. Thank you for taking my call. And to all listeners, you are the most patient guy in the history of comedy. You will stand there for 2 hours and take a picture with everyone.
Oh, yeah, I like doing it, actually. I really do. I enjoy meeting people after.
You really do. Yeah, the joke, the one about the 2 empty seats, right? And you say, I hope they got in a car wreck.
Yes.
It's that shit. People always say jokes like that, right? It's not like stealing.
No, you know what it is? It's addressing the obvious. And it's also, when if I see 2 empty seats up, I'll joke with the audience about, look, of course, there's a couple empty seats right in front. Like, the room is a nice crowd there, but of course they leave these 2 empty. And then I say something like, I hope they get in a car wreck. Sometimes what you're doing when you're making a joke is you're literally just taking the audience from one direction and then brutally ripping them into another place. And it's such a non-connected or disconnected leap from, hey, these seats are empty, to such an awful thought. And the joke lies in the fact that it's such a ridiculous and awful thought.
And one other thing is there was a drunk woman that was, harassing you.
Yes.
And the whole crowd went, naga fuck.
Yeah.
Remember?
I did.
And, you turned the crowd around. I've never seen anything like that. You had Connecticut people just fucking screaming at that drunk. You were tremendous, Jimmy. I bless you. Anybody out there, go see him. It's worth every penny.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate you coming, okay, pal?
And fuck Chip.
Oh, I'd love to. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Bye, Eddie. I've been saying pal a lot lately. I just noticed that. I don't know why. You get caught in these things. Let's see. Charlie in New Jersey. Good question.
Hey, Paul.
What's up, buddy?
I got me and 5 other people going to see you in Montclair, and I'm all jazzed up for it. But these guys don't know who you are at all. So are we going to be doing chip jokes and Uncle Paul the whole night, or is it going to be more of a comedic routine?
I would say if you want to prepare them for what I'm doing, have them watch a beheading video and then the crying game, and they're caught up.
You piece of shit.
No, I do a little bit of chip because people want me to do chip and Uncle Paul, but I do them at the end for less than 5 minutes, just as a brief thing. But no, it's not my act at all.
Okay, awesome. Looking forward to it, buddy.
Be good. Jay in Queens, I retweeted your tweet with tickets in the picture, but the barcodes are on them. I don't know what that means.
What's up, Jimmy?
Hey.
I was trying to do a nice thing and, say I was going to donate half the proceeds to the Indiegogo campaign. And one of the other Twitter guys pointed out that the barcodes were on there. So what I ended up doing was deleting everything.
Okay.
And retweeting, and that offer still stands. So I do have 4 tickets for sale on eBay. If anybody wants to bid, half the proceeds go to Indiegogo.
Okay, whatever you do with the money's fine. I did not. Let's see.
Hopefully it's all cleared up, so there's no.
When did you retweet it? Oh, there you are, JMV.
NY Streetboard.
Okay, Sans Barco. Yeah, no, I see it. I just retweeted it.
A comment on the whole, it's just a sad world that we live in. That there's people out there who do things like this, and it makes me feel a little bit like an ass. But hey,
hey man, you gotta protect yourself. I appreciate you trying to come in the first place. All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't be there, and I love you very much, Jimmy. You're awesome.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Luke in Indiana wants to be more sexual with the gal. I don't blame you. What's up?
Well, I had that question, but I don't know if I can ever fix it or not. So I've got 2 other things. One, I'm coming next week. Very, very excited about that. But my other question is, you guys started talking about the new Opie show. Is there ever any thought to go back and get some more of the whole shock jock thing that made you guys famous over the last 10 years? It just seems like the show's become a little more intellectual, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like every morning it's almost turned into e-entertainment with dick jokes.
Well, it's funny. Like, to go back and do shock jockey things, one of the problems with that term is that you have to do crazy stuff. A couple of things are at play. First of all, as you get older as a person, you just things change a little bit for you in that you don't want to do that stuff anymore. But it's not even morally. It's just I've done it before or it's boring. Like anyone who's like, you guys have changed. Well, sure we have. We're 10 years older. But everyone listening to us has changed. Like if you started listening to us when you were 25, most guys by the time they're 35, you're not doing the same shit you were doing when you were 25. You're not going out every night and getting fucked up. You're probably married. You probably got a kid. You probably got a mortgage payment. Another thing that's at play is a lot of times the XM or Sirius lawyers, we tried to do homeless shopping spree. We tried to do that, and it was a nightmare because they wanted the mall to indemnify them. So Sirius is indemnification obsessed, and we can't get a lot of things done that we have tried to do over the years. So lawyers, whether it was for K-Rock or for XM or for Sirius, stopped a lot of the things that were considered shock jockish. And as far as blowing things up with guests, I don't feel as safe there as I did at XM. I'm not as confident that company won't just fire me like XM wouldn't have fired me. Do you understand what I mean? So I don't feel as comfortable with that. But as far as like content and making fun of things, I mean, we make fun of most things now, but I'm not sure what is it that you would want to hear.
Well, I mean, even
don't forget the Cake Stomp. That's a perfect example of a shock jock thing. And, look at the amount of shit Opie has gotten over that. Or other things that have happened on the show. Look at the amount of shit that's happened over them.
It just seems like it's almost coming just a tad bit predictable. You'll have a guest in. I know that you want to be very topical with, Donald Trump provides everyone enough to talk about everything.
Yeah, I'm a little tired of talking about Trump, to be honest with you. I don't mind addressing it, but I'd rather talk about other shit.
Yeah, it just sometimes it seems like it's going to be predictable. But hey, next week when you're in Indy, make sure you go have a steak at St. Elmo's if you've never been there. It's the best steak in the country.
Okay, yeah, I will go there. I've never been there, and if I think I'm going to be in town all day too, so I would definitely go there.
Yes,
yeah, man, we never
place.
want to be predictable. It's like, I like to just go in there and kind of talk about whatever's going on. All right, but I appreciate it. We got to wrap up in about a minute. Matt in Canada, thank you for the call. Matt, what's up?
Jimmy, how you doing?
Hi, buddy.
Are you going to come up to Canada soon?
Yes, I want to do a Canadian leg of the tour. I want to do Australia and I want to do Canada again. Yes.
You were literally around the corner from my place when you took the picture of the CN Tower the last time you were here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely will get back up there. What was your question? I got to wrap up in about a minute.
I wanted to talk to you about your political views when you were discussing that you might vote for Trump and whatnot.
I'm definitely voting. I'm definitely voting for Trump.
You don't seem like a conservative kind of guy.
No, I'm not. It's not about being conservative. It's not about ideology. It's about my revulsion for all the other candidates and the fact that we're stuck in a two-party system. And I think he shakes things up in a way that nobody I've seen since Ross Perot can.
Do you feel that even though he's a billionaire, you still need him to run the country for you? Like, I understand the problem with Hillary and the Bush and whatnot. Like, you're in an oligarchy for so long.
They all have money. To answer your question, they all have money. Maybe Bernie doesn't, but all of them come from a place that doesn't relate to me, Jim Norton. Like Donald Jr. did say something interesting yesterday. He's like, most of these guys have never employed anyone. Like Trump has at least run businesses, whether people like him or not. As far as his policies are concerned. But I'm telling you, that's why. It's not because he's a billionaire. Mike Bloomberg's a billionaire. He ran New York and he did a pretty decent job. But the Clintons are fucking millionaires, and they're going to be millionaires when they're off the, out of the political world into the speaking circuit. Bushes were millionaires. Reagan was a very wealthy guy from Hollywood. None of these guys are broke. They're not regular guys, any of them.
No, but my point being, he's going to toe the company line when it comes to Republican, and there's going to be issues with, women's right to choose, gay rights, those kind of issues, social programs, and no matter what, if he runs a company or not, the social issues with him are going to be terrible. And I understand that you guys, down in the States, you're not so much of a socialist country, and the problem with Bernie is he used that word once, or he constantly uses it. But to tell you the truth, if he was up here in Canada, he would be voted prime minister within about 3 seconds.
Yeah, I understand that, but I wouldn't vote for him for that reason, even though I do like him. And I don't care about Trump's politics as much as I think that there's something about him that is such a slap to the face of the way these cocksuckers have been doing it for so long. I am hoping that he will frighten them into becoming more genuine. Or the idea of an outsider will no longer seem foreign to us stupid Americans and will be willing to really listen to a third party, someone who kind of takes the best of both worlds. So I got to run, man, but that's why I feel the way I do about Trump, okay?
Okay, but my last point is, do you feel like when the guy that went out on the street last week and wrote Hitler quotes to people and they were Trump supporters and they said that he said that and they felt they were okay, and when they found out it was Hitler, the one guy answered, well, Donald said it would have been okay.
Because that type of stuff where they were Hitler quotes attributed to Trump, is that what it was?
Yeah, like the guy went out and he said, Donald said this, and they were actual Hitler quotes. And one of the people on the street stated, you know what, Hitler may have said it, but if it had come out of Donald's mouth, he would still support it. So he's essentially saying that he supports someone with some kind of fascist idea.
Okay, and hold on, maybe he does. But now go around to enough people who support any other candidate, and there might be some of them that feel that it's okay to fuck children. So then you grab one of them who says, I have sex with little boys. I'm a member of NAMBLA, and I think Hillary's the best one for the country. Now all of a sudden, Hillary's a NAMBLA support. That's a very biased way of doing things on any side, and it does nothing for me. I don't care who votes for Trump or who votes for Hillary. I think for myself. So I don't care about those Hitler quotes, because any quotes taken out of context can be attributed to someone else. You understand? If I guarantee if they walked around saying, hey, I'm going to slaughter the Jews, Trump said that, people would have said, no, he didn't. That was a very biased thing. I got to run, buddy. I'm already late, okay? Thank you. All right, thanks a lot, Matt. Thank you all for your calls. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next week or tomorrow morning if you're listening.
Thanks for listening to The Jim Norton Show. Hear all that advice whenever you want to on demand at SiriusXM.com/on-demand. On SiriusXM is real.